Have you ever been engaged in that conversation with someone that only a few minutes in, sometimes not even a few minutes in, you realize this is really not your conversation, it's their conversation? I mean, everything that's going to be said has already been said by them, and everything that you have to say, well, it really doesn't matter anyway. They're just going to keep talking even if you're not paying any attention. Welcome to Leading Leaders Podcast. 5-minute videos, 5 days a week. I'm Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast. You know, there's a phrase called browbeating, and it's kind of when you take an idea and you just keep throwing out different facets of the same idea. Even if the idea is wrong, your facts, your opinions, your notions that support that idea, even if it's wrong, are never ending. They just keep coming. And so the person on the other side of that conversation doesn't really get to dialogue about the conversation. It's not, well, here's what I think, and here's what I think, and here's how they come together, or here's what I think, and here's what you think, and here's why they can't come together. There's no logical conversation in there. It's just one person constantly repeating the information. And the challenge sometimes is that the opinion itself, the notion that they're supporting, is a flawed theory to begin with. But they keep coming up with new evidence to support their flawed theory until they beat you into submission with the preponderance of their notion, even though it's all wrong. And maybe I'm the only one that's ever experienced that. No, that's not true. And how do I know? Well, because media and social media are busy about it right now. They've been doing it for decades, but it's becoming more prominent now. If you don't agree with what they have to say, they just speak louder. They make up new lies. I mean, there have been news stories that have been floated, and when I say floated, I mean one news agency kind of lifts up an idea and goes, look how bad this is. And then all the other news agencies play a game like keep the balloon in the air, and they're all just keep lifting it up to new headlines and new news stories and new articles and new social media posts and constantly keeping the ball in the air, so to speak, until someone comes out and they're like, no, wait a minute. The origin of that story is this, and that's just absolutely wrong. And yet it's been in the headlines and it's been in the news and everybody's paying attention to it. And it doesn't matter at this moment which story is in my mind. The truth is, you know this, they've done it with multiple stories. Now, I remember it was 2004, the first time I went through the Dale Carnegie coaching program. Or the Dale Carnegie, I think they called it the Strictly Business class. It was several weeks of training in public communication and human relations skills and just good person being, how to just be a good person. But Dale Carnegie has created these 32 rules for interacting with other humans, and one of them, a very profound one, was always speak in terms of the other person's interest. So if you're having a conversation with someone, instead of just throwing new ideas at them, sharing your own opinions over and over and over and over again, instead of throwing out a false allegation or false opinion and then bolstering it up with more false ideas, you actually listen to what the other person has to say. And if you genuinely care about human relationships in general, or this particular person in front of you at the moment, then specifically you listen to what they have to say, and you learn to shift your own conversation to a place where what you're talking about is what's important to them. What's on their mind right now? What's on their heart right now? Have you come only to lecture them, to browbeat them into submission, to cause them to think like you think? Is that the only reason that you're here? Or did you come to hear, to listen, to learn, to relate, to build a relationship? Yeah, there are leaders who have a tyrannical bent, who feel like you will do what I tell you to do, and I'll tell you over and over again what you need to do until you do what I tell you to do. And that kind of leadership is thankfully fading away from society. In your average managerial type of leadership, business type of leadership, standard relationship type of leadership, unfortunately, that tyrannical type of leadership is taking on new roles in various forms of government. and media and information brokers. I want to challenge you as a leader. Are you the kind of leader who genuinely cares about the heart and mind of the people that you're talking to? Or are you the kind of leader who feels like their only ability to lead, to manage, and to profit rests behind the ability to completely dominate and control the conversation? If you feel like the only way you can invest in and be in control of a conversation is to float a false lie and then keep the ball in the air, I want to challenge you to follow Dale Carnegie's principle, speak in the term of the other person's interest. I'm Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day. Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom.